Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. But I can't understand why some people just talk it bad. But I know all of them, we're running them out. They don't know what they are talking about. They will paint hair black every day, but the right things they will never see. Now our steel bands is the best talent in the world. By calypsos our stories are told, with this rhythm to touch your soul. So Trinidad, this lovely land of my birth, small but overwhelming with worth. And as you know, Carnival is the greatest show on earth. They say that pressure, it does make diamonds out of rock. And it's the same with the human character when our dreams are downstruck. In a jail, two men looking out through the same bars. One will fail because he see mud. The other one sees stars. You see, while pressure humbles the weak, it strengthens those who earnestly seek. It's the barometer that measures the strong and the weak. Salutations to our specially invited guests, MP for Chaguanas West, Dr. Neil Gosine, who is also the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, our co-hosts, Presidents of the Greater Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Baldath Maharaj, and President of the Canupia Chamber of Commerce, Ryan De Castro, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Abigail Bino, and DPS, Neville Alexander, Mayor of Chaguanas, His Worship Councillor Faiq Mohammed, represented by Deputy Mayor, members of the PSOTT team, Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism Department heads and team members, Chair of the Confederation of Regional Business Chambers, and Chair of the PSOTT's SME Business Council, Vivek Charan, CSO of the CRBC, Ms. Anjani Jairam, other business leaders and stakeholders of Chaguanas, Canupia, and the wider business community, members of the media, all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, good evening and welcome to the PSOTT's inaugural consultation session on the road to transformation. And actually I'm correcting myself here tonight because a few days ago I misquoted and said sniper, but I really meant prowler. And it's always better to correct yourself than have others correct you. You see, first of all, we need a portrait of Trinidad and Tobago. And what does this really mean? A vision. But once we have an idea of where we want to go and what we want to build, we must then chart our journey with the right roadmap. This evening, we are here to build on our collective vision for a better Trinidad and Tobago and make progress along the road to transformation. In a very real way, it is exactly what we do in our business and personal lives. You all are all aware of the fact that most companies in strategic planning begin with what is our vision and what is our mission? What do we see for ourselves and how do we get there? Take my own vision and journey as an example. I started my journey to becoming an attorney right here in Chaguanas. You see, at that time, the University of the West Indies, and I believe it still holds today, did not allow you to pursue 2 bachelor degrees simultaneously. So what did I choose to do? I studied business at UWI and law at the Institute of Law and Academic Studies here in Chaguanas. But why business and law, you may ask? My grandfather grew up dancing cocoa on his father's cocoa estates in Sangre Chiquito. And by the way, we will be in Sangre Grande on Friday. But his family encouraged him to become a teacher and later on ventured to London to become an attorney. And upon his return and marrying my grandmother, he later encouraged her to complete her studies and she eventually became the first female East Indian pharmacist in Trinidad and Tobago. And together, they managed both his practice as an attorney, a sole trader, and their pharmacy under her leadership, Dial's Drugstore in Arima. And we will be in Arima on Saturday this week. I came along after but it was enough time for me to learn the rudiments of SME development, of business practice, of ethical standards, and of community development. I saw firsthand how entrepreneurs in the ARIMA business community worked together to influence what public policies were important to enable business in the district. And there you have it. That is proof, as I always say, there are no coincidences in life and everything is connected. My grandparents instilled in me the idea that TNT was the best nation in the world and that anything was possible right here. However, we can only build it together. Every successful nation is built on ideas like these, and by the people with the courage to turn those ideas into action. TNT does not have a shortage of ideas, you see. What we have been hampered by is really an implementation deficit. Allow me, if you will, to read some ad verbatim statements, and after I read them, I will give you some context. It is also no exaggeration to suggest that the world is unique in the dominance and pervasive encroachment of technology in our lives, with its resulting impact on occupations, values, and lifestyles. Computerization, robotics, telecommunications, genetic engineering, and biotechnology have now placed at man's disposal capabilities that were the stuff of science fiction not so long ago. We have it in our power either to put this capability to efficacious use at the surface of mankind, say to eradicate world hunger or poverty, or to utilize it to man's detriment, both as individuals and as nations. ... The primary impact of the weakened market for oil has been felt in the industry itself, in the financial position of the nation, and in the country's balance of payments. The private non-oil sector of the economy continues to draw on foreign exchange earnings of oil to pay for its imports. ... There are two dimensions to the problem of adjustment in Trinidad and Tobago. In the first place, there is the short-run problem brought about by the recession in industrial countries. This principally concerns the reduction of our foreign exchange earnings and the consequent need to adjust downwards and demand for imports and to change their composition in favor of essential goods and services. Secondly, there is the long-run problem of altering the structure of production and improving our competitiveness to match the ever-changing conditions of world demand. This inevitably involves reducing our dependence on oil and successfully developing alternative export industries. We have already made substantial investments towards the establishment of such alternatives, principally the energy-based industries of iron, steel, ammonia, urea, and methanol. The challenge is to improve the efficiency of these and other industries so that they will be better placed to take advantage of the opportunities in the international economy. That statement is taken from 1984, the year of my birth. Does it sound familiar? Allow me to read one more. The general model is that the government will establish relationships with private sector entities which would introduce resources and expertise into infrastructure projects. This development of public-private partnership will be done in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. In addition, we will partner with local businesses to ensure that we buy a larger percentage of goods and services locally. The first phase of the program would involve the securing of strategic investors for a number of state enterprises. In parallel, further public offerings will be made on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. That statement was taken from more recent years, in 2012. And I chose those two to demonstrate that here tonight we are proving that we can take action and convert ideas into real projects. Because for the first time That message in 2012 is now a reality. The Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism is working directly with an integrated private sector body, the Private Sector Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are structuring projects, as we will do here later tonight, that will manifest the future that we dreamed of in 1984, once and for all. But you see, it is no wonder when people, especially business owners, hear of new ideas, there is a certain degree of jadedness, apathy, and pessimism. However, across Trinidad and Tobago, businesses create jobs, invest in communities, develop talent, introduce new technologies, and open doors to opportunity. From small and medium-sized businesses to major corporations, the private sector plays a vital role in building a more resilient and sustainable economy. However, lasting progress requires unified collaboration and representation across all of the private sector. That is the idea and the role of the Private Sector Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, the PSOTT. We are the national umbrella body representing all of the private sector across all industries and subsectors. By bringing together business associations, chambers, corporate entities, the PSOTT helps place the priorities of business at the center of national dialogue on socio-economic development, trade, investment, and competitiveness. Through evidence-based policy advocacy, strategic partnerships, and constructive engagement with government and other key stakeholders, the PSOTT works to help create an environment in which businesses can grow, innovate, and compete, supporting job creation, national productivity, and expanded opportunities for enterprises of every size. After all, when businesses thrive, communities benefit, families gain greater security, young people see new career opportunities. Entrepreneurs, both local and foreign, gain the confidence to invest. Ultimately, Trinidad and Tobago becomes better positioned to succeed in a changing global economy. The PSOTT's work addresses the issues that shape our future, such as economic policy and business competitiveness, technology and innovation, human capital development, agriculture and agro-processing, small and medium-sized enterprise growth, sustainability, tourism, energy services, and the ease of doing business. These are not isolated areas. They are connected pathways to diversification, resilience, and long-term prosperity. Through our specialized committees, the PSOTT brings together industry experts, business leaders, and subject matter specialists to not just analyze and identify challenges, but develop practical solutions and not only contribute to inform the recommendations to national policy, but actively get involved in their execution. The PSOTT believes progress is strongest when the private sector, government, and civil society work together around a shared national purpose. This is taking a different approach to lead to a different outcome, real and impactful change. We have for many years spoken about improving the ease of doing business, strengthening productivity, developing our people, expanding regional and international trade, supporting innovation, unlocking investment, and creating an economy that is free from dependence on one major sector and more equitably accessible to all. Now, together, we can get it done through unified action and execution. You see, if Trinidad and Tobago can help NASA extend the Earth's reach and arrive on the moon through Dr. Rudranath Kapildev's Kapildev theorem, and we can also create the most amazing symbol of innovation in the entire world, the steel pan, which has brought together three of the things that drive us as a people: our energy, our creativity, and our ancestry. Then we can do anything. And we just need to work together to ensure that we create synergy amongst the private sector and that we influence public policy in an effective and responsible manner. So if you are part of a business association, a chamber, a corporate organization, or the wider business community, and add your expertise to the conversation. Build new partnerships, help shape the policies that affect our nation, become part of a national movement committed to meaningful, sustainable progress. Join us on the road to transformation, because we cannot afford to wait for a crisis to take hold before we implement solutions. And as I opened, I shall close. Remember, as Sniper and Prowler said, Trinidad is our land, and of it we must be proud and glad. And in the face of bars or barriers, rather than look down into the mud, look up to the stars and the moon, because we've reached there before. Together we can strengthen enterprise. Together we can expand opportunity. Together we can help build the Trinidad and Tobago that we know is possible. The private sector organization of Trinidad and Tobago, unifying business, driving transformation. Thank you very much.